Gary Payton and the Seattle Supersonics.
Jay Peter with the Seattle Mariners.
Jermaine Kearse.
Cliff Averill.
Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
Okay, take two, everybody. So, sorry I got that little technical glitch, but we are back. We're rolling back again. I got through the first part on that separate earlier stream where we got through the schedule, and I wanted to go to the phone calls and the phone lines. We were having problems, but we are back on. I think we got it all worked out, hopefully. So you guys can jump on, because I do want to hear your thoughts on Russell Wilson and the schedule for 2019. So if you want to be part of the conversation, just dial in that number you see on the screen, 515-606-5121, and then wait for the prompt for the code and enter that code you see there, 696153, and I'll get you on here as quickly as I can. So I hope to hear from you guys soon. I see you, the phone line's starting to pop in there now. Yes, I got different headphones on. I don't even know if the headphones were the problem. I think the computer was just acting like a little piece of you-know-what. But it's all good. Although it's interesting because now my stream is not updating. The comments are not updating the way they're supposed to, which is kind of a little bit odd, but that's nice. That's how I say. It's a weird day. Weird glitchy day here today, but I don't know why that is, but what can you do? Sometimes it's just things don't always go the way you want them to. But we may not have the chat on there, but the chat is still good. So on the YouTube channel itself. Anyway, so let's go. Let's get to the phone lines right now. Not waste any time. All right, let's go to the first caller who was on there. Let's go to the 408. Let's cross your fingers and hope this works. You're on with NorbCam. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello. You're on with NorbCam. You there? That's not a good sign. Hello. All right. Let's try a different one here. Let's try the 209. What's up? Can you hear me?
Yo, yeah, what up?
There he is. All right. Sorry about that. Thanks for your patience. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Louis. I'm calling from Turlock.
What was your name again?
Louis.
Louis?
Yeah.
All right. And you're calling from what area of the U.S.?
29 Turlock.
All right. So what's on your mind, man?
Cali. Oh, no, I just wanted to talk about the division.
Okay. Are you a Seahawks fan, or who are you a fan of?
No, I'm a Niner fan.
A Niner fan. All right. Yeah, so what's on your mind? The schedule's out. Obviously, we're going to be facing you a couple times. Finale of the schedule this year, and Monday night primetime. I believe it's a Monday night primetime game. It's going to be interesting. What do you think of your Niners? What's your outlook on the Niners this year?
I mean, we added D Ford, right?
Yep.
And I think if we could get a Boza for the other edge, I think we'll be all right. We got a D Ford in the middle. I think we'll be all right. Or we could go with Quentin Williams in the middle with Buckner, and then put Thomas on the other end, and then have D Ford on one end. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But,
yeah.
I don't know. Our secondary is good. I mean, Sherman, and then we got that Pro Bowler from the Chargers, Jason Barrett. He's been hurt most of his career, but when he's playing, I mean, he's good. He's been to the Pro Bowl. He's a good corner.
Yep.
But,
yep.
I don't know. I think we'll be all right. I think we can win the division. I think we'll be all right. You know, we didn't have no type of pass rush really last year. Now that we have a pass rush, I think we'll be all right.
Well, I think. Yep. You're optimistic. Yep. You've got Jimmy Garoppolo coming back. What's your thought on his coming back from the injury? Is the outlook pretty good that he's going to pick up where he left off?
Right now he's looking good. I mean, I hope he's good. He's good, bro. I mean, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Time will tell.
Yeah, we got the draft coming up and undrafted free agents, of course, to pick up. But I think NFC West is going to be one of the best divisions in football. I think the Seahawks will be up there in the mix. Of course, the Rams defending NFC champs, and then the Cardinals. With that number 1 draft pick, they may be getting a quarterback here and finding themselves right back into the mix. So I think this division is going to be pretty tough, pretty black and blue division. That's going to be a tough one, no matter which team's going in it.
No, I think we'll win it, though, for sure. Hands down.
Yeah. You think the 49ers are going to take the division?
I mean, look, honestly, the Rams, I don't think they'll be the same. I don't think they'll be the same after that Super Bowl loss, bro, honestly, bro. And like I said, we had a lot of injuries last season. If Garoppolo didn't go down, I said we at least – everything, I say, comes to work, we go 8-8,
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out we had him go out week 3, Seeing him, if he stays healthy, I think we can,
Yeah, I definitely think that.
Healthy.
I do. Yeah, I do believe the 49ers will definitely be much more competitive this year, and it could be a very very tight race for the top for sure. And we'll see if Jimmy Garoppolo can get through a full season. You got that tight end of yours that's looking pretty good too. He was doing some damage even without Garoppolo in there.
Yeah, we just gotta get a top receiver in the second round. We'll be all right.
Yep, I think we're looking for one too. So but we definitely want to get some pass rush help there, and there's always a little something that we all need. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I'm looking forward to that 49er rematch. It's always good games when the 49ers and Seahawks get together. All right, well, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you.
All right, good luck this season. All right. All right, let's keep this rolling. Let's go to the 804. What's up? Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Are you there? Hello? Somebody's away from their phone, it sounds like. 804, are you with us? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who's this? Where are you calling from? What's going on?
Anton. Anton. I'm calling from Virginia. I called in a few times before.
Oh, yeah, Anton. Right. Calling from where again?
Virginia.
What's on your mind?
I just want to talk about the Russell Wilson contract extension. And it's like a lot of Seahawks fans, they really think that, we're not going to have enough, money to sign any other players because he's going to be taking up a lot of money. But one thing that not really many people were saying is that in the 2020 season, we're going to have one of the lowest team payrolls for out of all the teams in the NFL because his contract going to be done. We're not really going to be paying anybody other than Russell and Bobby to any big money. We got Tyler Lockett on a low deal. We got Bradley McDougald on a low deal. Most of other than Wagner, Russell, we ain't really paying nobody.
Right.
And in 2021, once the new CBA is going to be,
That's right.
they're going to have to drop a new CBA. The players, they're most likely going to fight for more money on the cap. So it'll probably be more, you know what I'm saying? Well, even bigger cap room to even sign people,
Well, and I think that's the thing that nobody really knows for sure. But I think without question, the cap is going to go up, and the new CBA, which they're saying it's possible they could have that in place sooner than they originally expected. We may not have to wait till 21. And I think the fact that they're legalizing gambling in the NFL, that's a whole nother revenue that is never been seen before. So more revenue coming into the sport, which means more money to go around, more money for teams to play with. And so the fact that, there's rumor that Russell Wilson was trying to get his contract, his salary tied to the cap, which would have been challenges by itself, not knowing what the cap was going to be. Now that we know he's got a fixed salary, if the cap blows up, well, then that's just more money to pay for the other guys, and we know it's going to go up. So I agree. I think right now it's a good deal. It's a good deal, especially when it's only going to go higher with these future quarterback salaries. And at some point, 3 or 4 years from now, we Russell and all of us may be going, wow, we got a steal for Russell Wilson. Look what the prices are now. So I think I think it worked out well. And Russell Wilson, he's getting plenty of money. Don't get me wrong, but I think he actually really did want to stay in Seattle, and he made a deal that is going to work out well for the team, at least in the interim for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think we did what we should have done. I would have been really upset with having a franchise tag him, because if we would have franchise tagged him, we wouldn't be pledging in as much money as the 4-year contract, but we would have been pledging in a lot of guaranteed money, and then we'd be losing one of our best players in franchise history. And so if we would have had to franchise tag him and he would have did what Kirk Cousins did, he could have got a $200 million deal.
Oh yeah,
it's probably Pat Mahomes is doing, because his franchise tag, they wouldn't be able to franchise tag him right around once the new CBA would have to come. And then if Russell Wilson is on the free market, it's going to be a whole bunch of teams trying to pay him.
Oh yeah, and if we went year to year on the franchise tag, on year number 3, because it escalates each year, he would have been close to $50 million on that final year of the franchise tag. So I mean, it would have been a bad situation. Not to mention, we go down the franchise tag route, it's very clear that both sides wouldn't be happy with the situation and pretty much would mark the eventual end of the relationship. So I think they avoided that. They got the deal done that was friendly in the sense that now we've got a fixed number we can count on. Russell's got his no trade clause. He controls his destiny as far as he won't have to worry about losing his place with the team. He can go when he and the team agree that they want to go, and he's got some guaranteed money, so he doesn't have to worry about if he was in a franchise tag situation. He's only going year to year, so if he were to have a career-ending injury, God forbid, he'd have to be worried about that too. So now with this being that 5 years, he's got all that money set, everyone can just count on and know, okay, we can just plan things out and not have to worry what's going to happen the following year and the year after that. What if this happens? What if that happens? So yeah, it's a good situation for both. And I don't understand people who don't see the value in Russell Wilson and who continue to question him as a player. I'm just like, what have you guys been watching for the last 7 years, man?
Yeah, I don't know if they seeing how. I think a lot of people who were saying that were the new fans, because I've been a fan since I was 4 years old, back in 2004, 2005, and after Sean Alexander, he left them 2008, 2009, 2010. They wasn't that good years. He was going 5-11. Oh yeah, and barely getting any wins. You know what I'm saying? So I think they was kind of taking them for granted. And another thing is I think a lot of people who don't live his lifestyle, middle south, people with regular jobs, they don't understand that in his job, what his market command, what his market generates, he has that opportunity to force all his managers or whatever to get him paid more money. He's not working the same job as regular people who work a regular job. They can't. You know what I'm saying? It's two different lifestyles. He can do that because it's, that's what you can do in the NFL. Players can fight for more money. It's not the same as working a regular hourly wage job. Right. It's at a fast food place or something like that. It's two totally different things. Just because he wants to get paid more money doesn't mean that he only wants money. He just knows that the NFL is making a whole lot of money. The players, they should be entitled to get some of that extra money, or at least fight to get some of that extra money. Because what they do, they're really tearing down their bodies, you know what I'm saying, for our entertainment.
Right. Well, and quarterback, is a very unique position. And it's one of the few positions where a player can play into his 40s and still be good. He doesn't suffer the same number of hits like a running back or a lineman does. So his career will last a lot longer. But let's face it, the quarterback is normally the face of the franchise. He's got more than just his job to do, and his job is very complicated from the psychological aspect of reading defenses and knowing the playbook, and so much weight is put on the quarterback's shoulders. And, he's got to be not only the general on the field, he's got to be, the face of the franchise off the field. And, you're investing in more than just a player. You're investing in an icon of your city, of your team. And, I can't think of a better ambassador for the sport of football and for the city of Seattle than Russell Wilson. I mean, you will never have to worry about him, being in some, some controversy or something like that.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Anything like that. He's a good dude.
Yeah, it's a good man. So, you don't let a fish like that go when you got him. And it's just hard to get a good quarterback anyway. Just because you have the draft picks doesn't mean you're going to get a quarterback. Ask Cleveland.
Ask John Elway.
Yeah. Wow, look, John Elway is a great quarterback, but he has not had any luck getting one yet. It's been a struggle for him, and ever since Peyton Manning left, they just haven't really had the guy yet. So, So anyway, I'm counting our lucky stars that we got that worked out. Because Monday night I was starting to get a little freaked out, thinking, man, if I had to wake up the next day and find out he's going to be gone, I was just very disturbed.
Let me tell you, since I'm on the East Coast, it's 3 hours ahead of y'all, and when I was looking at my clock, it was 12 o'clock, and I was like, oh my God, we ain't get a deal done. But I was kidding that, y'all 3 hours behind because I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah, so it was like 3 in the it was like 3 in the morning for you over there.
Yeah.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
I want to say one more thing. One more thing real quick.
Yeah.
So all the Seahawks fans who was trade Russell Wilson, are y'all sure y'all want to see Paxton Lynch be our starting quarterback this year?
Yeah, no,
that's our backup. I'm not sure you want to. I don't know. I probably wouldn't be able to watch the game because Paxton Lynch is terrible.
Yeah. We've had a lot of backups that you just, the great thing about the best job in the world, if you want to have an easy job, just be a backup to Russell Wilson because you'll never play. You'll never be on the field. He does a lot of work in the practices and being ready and all that. But look, that's the whole thing about Russell Wilson is his durability, man. The guy has never missed a game, barely missed a snap. And even when he's gone down with an injury that looked like it should have taken him out for weeks, he's managed to stay on the field and kept going somehow and still managed to win games. So you can't put enough stock in a player like that. So yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for the call. Appreciate it, dude.
All right, appreciate it.
All right. Go Hawks. All right. Glad things are working again. Yeah, let's see. Nope. Chat room is still messed up, but that's okay. Let's just keep the calls rolling here. Let's go to the 917 or 971. All right, you're on with NorbCam. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello? Yep, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, Norb.
Hey.
Hey. I come from the username Pongbot.
Oh, Pongbot. All right. So I get to finally talk to you in person.
I am honored.
I appreciate you always being in there. So, do I call you Pongbot or do you have a real name I can go by when I talk to you right now?
First name's Jeremy.
Jeremy. All right. And where are you from?
Yeah. Portland.
Portland. All right. That's cool. I'm glad you finally called up. I see your name all the time, man. But what's up?
Yeah. I was just ecstatic about the Russell Wilson contract. And I was also wondering, how ecstatic is everyone with Cassius Marsh coming back?
Yeah, it wasn't an expensive deal. I was never, crazy thrilled about Cassius Marsh per se. He was one of those guys who had a motor on. But, coming back, it adds depth. The guy's got experience, and why not, right? Why not? It's guy's familiar with the system.
He seems like a great guy.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't doing cartwheels or anything when I saw the signing. I wasn't like, woohoo, Cassius Marsh is back. But I was like, okay, all right, Cassius Marsh is back. That's great.
I just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry for the curveball.
That's all right. Yeah, not exactly the top headline news at this point, but
I know.
You never know.
Breathe a sigh of relief. Russell's back, and for a while, and now we got, Wagner coming up next.
Yep. I think the big question, The big question is Frank. The big question is Frank Clark. how much is this going to impact our ability to get Frank Clark signed? And I think that's the big $1 million question, or $10 million question, or $15 million question, depending on how much he wants. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, that was my next question to you. Was like, what do you think the odds are of keeping Frank Clark or trading Frank Clark? I'm hoping to keep him. I hope they work something out. For sure. So, I mean, I don't know the logistics of it and everything, but yeah, I hope they keep Frank for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, you keep all three of those guys, right? You'd love for them to find a way to keep. I mean, that's your core. That's the core guys right now. Who need to get signed. Obviously, Lockett, is taken care of for the time being. But the next up is Bobby Wagner and Frank Clark, and you'd want to have those guys stay. They obviously have been with the team for a long time. They're one of your leaders. Frank Clark's been a beast. It's I guess it just comes down to is Frank Clark is he happy with whatever they've decided to do, whether they franchise tag him or do they is a possibility they can get a long-term deal worked out. I mean, I hope they do, and I don't really know exactly. It's just with the CBA around the corner, it's hard to gauge exactly how much money we're going to have to work with. I think that's the big mystery, but I think there will be more. There will be more money. It's going to always, the cap always goes up every year. So I would like to think that with the payroll as low as it is, because we have so many of those expensive contracts coming off the books, Cam Chancellor's, being one of them, that it should open up some possibilities for us to, to think that they can get all three done. So,
it's like,
I'd love to see it happen.
Where's the sacrifice going to come from? It's like, are they going to, go with the defensive line? They're going to go with the offensive line? Where they got to scrimp and save.
Well, and I think where the sacrifice probably comes in is that they can't do like what the Rams have been doing and just buying all kinds of expensive free agents. I mean, we can't afford to do that. But I'd like to think that they would sign their own, and we're just going to have to do it, via the draft and, develop the guys that we've got. There's guys that we have, our rookie guys who are now going to be second-year players. There's names that we haven't really completely, gotten completely into the fold yet. But I think that there's that aspect that we haven't really talked that much about. So, so we don't have a lot of draft picks. I'm sure they'll trade down out of that number one spot. It's hard to imagine them not doing that considering their history. But Seattle does have a way of shocking us, don't they? Doing things that we don't expect them to do. So
yeah, and I was going to ask another thing. I see this coming up in the comments.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about Curse?
Yeah, I know, because he's basically a free agent out there, floating out there, right?
Right.
It's
and he's already said, like, I would love to come back to Seattle.
I think if the price is right and it's cheap enough, why wouldn't they at least give him a shot, right, and just see what happens?
Yeah. But there's been no word.
Right. It's kind of an interesting one, because when I think about Curse being available, again, it's kind of like not as much as the Cassius Marsh, signing, where I'm like, okay, I guess he could. I mean, and it's weird to say that because he's had some of the greatest catches of all time as a Seahawk, and yet when I think about him, I don't think about him as a dominant receiver either, because he's not the fastest guy in the world. He doesn't. Yeah, and he doesn't run the most precise routes, but he's managed to find ways where he might play really bad for like several plays, and then he gets this really awesome one out of it. So you sort of forget all the bad ones in between. And offensive pass interference notwithstanding. He's the clutch guy. So, but he's also how many years has been gone now? 2-3 years.
Oh God. Yeah.
I don't even know how old he is now, but so I guess if it was
nostalgia, nostalgia, right?
Yeah. So I don't think it'd be bad to kick the tires on it, but I do think that I hope Seattle does at least look at one big receiver in this draft and try to, get somebody in there that we just have been missing, that big dominant kind of number, one type of body type,
Yeah, totally.
So,
Brandon, when get off topic already.
Oh yeah, no, that's all on topic. I mean, it's all part of the off season. So, the good thing is we don't have to really worry now about Russell Wilson. We can just worry about everything else. That's the one benefit to the fact that he had this deadline. The deadline now makes it to where we can all just breathe and just focus on other things and know that our quarterback's taken care of, and let's just get to work. So. Yeah, now we'll see what happens there, but it's draft is already next week. It'll be fun to go to the draft party, and I'm sure it's going to be nothing to celebrate because we'll probably just draft out of the first round and not have any big name to cheer at the party. But
totally,
it will be fun to watch what happens. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a fun draft. It always is. But all right, man. Well, thanks for calling. It's good to talk to you.
Oh yeah, thanks for picking me up.
No problem. You bet. We'll talk again soon.
Go Hawks.
Yep, go Hawks.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep this train running. 702 has been waiting for a while. Let's get this from the 702. What's up? Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Norb, can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, it's Austin. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right. Are you first-time caller?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the show. I appreciate it. What's on your mind?
I just saw that you saw the stadium, the Las Vegas Stadium. How was your trip to Las Vegas?
Oh, it was good. I was in Vegas for pretty much the whole week last week. It was my kids' spring break, and we were there because my oldest daughter, Sophie, had a volleyball tournament. Their team was playing for the weekend, 3-day tournament, and unfortunately she sprained her ankle the weekend before, so she couldn't play in it. So she had to be a spectator wearing crutches, and but we were already committed to going down there. So it was the kids' first time to Vegas, so they got to enjoy seeing the lights and all the sights of the Strip and everything. And we had a great time though. Saw some good shows, had some entertainment. Did a little sightseeing, and got to cheer our team on. And hopefully she's on the rehab trail now and using some of that technology that Russell Wilson did when he got his ankle sprained. So I'm hoping she'll be back on the court soon. But yeah, no, I enjoyed going down to Vegas. It was a good trip. And I got a sneak peek at that stadium. It was still pretty skeletal, but it's going to be pretty high tech. It's going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's going to be weird, especially going to the Raiders games in my Seahawks jersey because I'm a big fan, even though I was born here. I was born in Cali, but I moved here. But I've been a big-time Seahawks fan for my whole life.
Oh, but you never lived. You never lived in Seattle, though.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I was curious. How'd you become a Seahawks fan, considering that you were a California guy, then hopped over to Vegas? How did Seattle come into the mix?
Right. So a lot of my family is actually Seahawks fans, but they were the first actual team that I watched. The first one was the NFC game against the Niners, when Sherman got the tip.
Oh, the tip. Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
The one question I did have for you, though, with Earl going to Baltimore, what do you think we're going to do as far as a free safety position? I know we have McDougald, but do you think we'd see more of like Tedrick Thompson?
Yeah, I feel like we got to keep looking. I know those guys have gotten some play, and I guess that nobody's really stepped up. I think I'm trying to remember, is Delano Hill, is he still on the I think he's still there, right? I don't think we got rid of Delano Hill. Yeah. So I kind of, when we first drafted him, I thought maybe he might be the second coming of Cam Chancellor. I think I said that in my little draft analysis song, that quite hasn't happened like I thought. So I'm not feeling like we've got the safety position quite nailed down yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if they might look to the draft and maybe look for another safety to come in here. It feels like they just haven't found that guy yet. It was very clear when we had Thomas and Chancellor, it was like the best safety tandem in the world, and we may never see a combo like that again. But you want to at least have something, approaching that feeling that you've got, that lockdown person. But I don't think it's quite there yet. But yeah, so McDougald's great though. I mean, I think he's great in that position. But we got to have two. So yeah,
So in the draft, we'd kind of be looking more for the safeties. But one other thing is tight end. Do you feel like we're good with Isley and Vanette and Dixon as well? Or do you think we also need to look for tight end?
I feel like we're good there. You know, I mean, it was unfortunate that Disley got hurt, so we never really got to see his full potential. Yeah. But, you know, we saw a little glimpse of it early on in those first couple of games that he played. You know, good blocker and receiver. Yeah, he had that one long pass for like 50-something yards or whatever it was and just kept running and stumbling and bumbling. But I like that tandem. And we got two solid blockers, and, you know, Vanette's a pretty good pass catcher. I mean, all three of them really showed some good pass catching ability last year, but really their strength is that they're good blocking tight ends. It kind of reminds me of how Zach Miller was used back in those, you know, when we were in that Super Bowl period, because he was one of those guys that was a great blocker first, but he could also catch the ball, you know, and that's what these guys can do. So I'm excited to see Will Dissly healthy out there, and, you know, if we get all those three guys, you know, start out of the gates and stay healthy the whole year. I mean, those double tight end sets, and I remember we did a lot of that in that first couple of years when we had our Super Bowl runs, and you know, that worked out really well. So I'm hoping they can you know, re-establish that again with those three. I don't feel like we need more unless they just need depth, but that's three tight ends that are a pretty good combination right there.
Yeah, I feel like the three of them are really versatile. My main thing was safeties. I think it's great that we got this Russell contract thing done. But safety, I'm a little skeptical of that in corner because we're so young at those two.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a work in progress for sure. And, you know, we've had Earl Thomas, you know, for such a long time, and took him for granted how good he was back there, that we could have one single high safety taking care of everything. And, you know, we've seen, you know, the Dallas game was our last example of what happens when the secondary breaks down. You know, we've had breakaway plays that probably wouldn't have happened if it was, you know, a little bit more solid secondary. So Shaquille Griffin's while he's still, I think, you know, his position is safe, but he definitely's got to improve on some things, because he made some mistakes in that game that cost us some yards and some drives. So, you know, I think, we got to keep kicking the tires and see what else we can do there. But, you know, safety for sure. I mean, if I were to pick it in order, I'd say, you know, pass rusher, receiver and safety kind of side by side. I think safety maybe a little bit more higher need, and receiver, and then interior lineman. And that's kind of probably my four wish list draft choices that I'd like to see. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like what was his name? David Moore. I feel like he's very underrated as a receiver. I feel like he did really well for, I think that was his rookie year.
It was his second year, because he was a rookie in 2017. We didn't see much of him. He was kind of like a practice squad guy, didn't get much time. And then last year was his first time kind of really as a guy who kind of in the regular rotation. It was kind of weird, David Moore, because he started out really strong and was just like tearing it up. And then all of a sudden, there was that one game where we kind of had the dropsies. I think it was the Chargers game.
Yeah.
And then down the stretch, he kind of disappeared. And I don't know what happened there, but it just seemed like he just wasn't as productive as he was in the first 5/8 or so of the season. He just didn't quite have the same finish, and I don't know what happened there, but I'm hoping he'll come back, because he was great for a stretch there, and I'd like to see him kind of get back into the mix, because he's a pretty big guy, and, you know, is clutch too. I was clutch during that time period, so hopefully he can get back into it too. So, yeah, all right. Well, thanks for your call, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Go Hawks.
All right, go Hawks. You too. All right, let's keep this rolling. I got a caller here. I don't even have the name or number. Let's see who this is. You're on with NorbCam. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Norb. I'm Leo from Mexico City.
Mexico City. All right, are you actually in Mexico?
Yeah, I'm in
All right.
Mexico City.
Wow, international caller. That's cool. Seahawks fan?
Yeah, I'm actually here just working for like a year. But,
okay.
But I actually live in Seattle.
Oh, okay. I see. So you're just temporarily away from your hometown.
Yeah, I was supposed to be here for like a month, but they extended me a year, so.
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
Okay, all right. Yeah, what's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, I was like super worried about Russell not signing. I didn't want them to franchise tag him because I thought we were going to lose him eventually.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, were you nervous about it?
What's that?
Were you nervous about?
Was I nervous?
Signing or not?
I was nervous. I wasn't nervous till I think about, I don't know, about 4 o'clock on. I started getting really nervous. I started getting this bad feeling in my gut, like that there's always that part of me that was comforted, thinking, "Oh no, he's not gonna go anywhere. Seahawks won't let him go. He's not gonna want to leave." And then it just started to hit me that, oh my God, what if I'm wrong? What if Russell Wilson does leave? What if Seattle does trade him because they just simply can't match what he wants? And next thing you know, he's in a Giants uniform or something like that. And I just got all kind of stressed out, and inside my stomach was just churning because I just thought, of the one player I always thought would be here for the whole term, would be Russell Wilson. I mean, I can't really say I could say that about anybody else who would only play for one team, but he's the one I kind of counted on. And when that started to shake on me, I was really tripping. So when I saw that the next morning, I was so thrilled. I was so relieved. So.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I always thought that Wilson was going to be there until he retired, I guess. And then when he was saying he was putting the deadline, I was like, whoa. So kind of just like, it was like a reality check. You're like, oh no, he's going to go. And I think if he went to free agency, he would be offered a really good deal by some other team.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And and that was my thought, is that if the Seahawks don't pay him, somebody else will. And it was just, we just can't let that happen. So I'm so glad they got it worked out. And listening to the press conference today was good. It was just nice to hear Russell saying all those things where, he wants to be in Seattle. He wants to finish as a Seahawk. And these are all the things I already kind of believed, but I think in just all this posturing and all the rumors that were going around with all the different, analysts breaking this down, it just starts getting inside your head, and started me questioning even what I believed had been the case all along. This was the deal I thought was going to happen anyway, mid-$30 million range, and that he wanted to be here and a 4-year extension. It was totally what I had thought would be the contract he deserved to get. And so in the end, I'm not really surprised because it's really what I felt he deserved to get. It just, when I started to second guess myself and start believing all the rumors, that's when I started getting all off my my mindset. But yeah, no, it's a great thing, and hopefully it will prove itself that it was the right move, because obviously we have yet to see this all play out. And of course, looking at that 2019 schedule again makes me a little nervous because, man, there's no break in there. Every team looks tough. And so, now it's going to be that thing where Russell's going to be under the microscope, in terms of he's got to deliver, because fans are going to be very disappointed if, things don't go our way. I just know people's patience will be a little bit less if Russell, throws an interception, or Russell fumbles the ball, or he doesn't bring us back. Everybody's going to be going, man, we're paying $35 million a year for this. I could see it already that, that it's going to be on a very short leash with the critics and the fans out there. So hopefully, he can rise to the occasion as he always does. And we maintain that level of consistent, playoff style football, so.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, he'll be under the microscope from media too, and the reporters, and any little bump would just blow up 10 times more. Yeah, for sure. It's going to be, definitely talked about a lot. And I think the only way we'll know if this was a good deal is we'll look at this 5 years later from now and look back at this day and go, man, told you that was the best thing the Seahawks ever did. Or looking back and go, man,
I guess that didn't work out. So hopefully that's not the case. But it will be an interesting test because obviously this is the highest amount anybody's ever paid. Definitely, obviously, for the Seahawks, but it won't be the last. But I think, it'll be a good little litmus test to see when you pay a quarterback that much money, and you have to build everybody else around that. Can you consistently still get to the playoffs? Because it's the opposite of when Wilson first came here, where we had, he was the cheapest guy in town, and we were paying everybody else. And we did get to a couple Super Bowls that way. So, we haven't been back to the Super Bowls since, Russell signed his first extension. So far we can't say that the highest paid guy got us to a Super Bowl yet. I'd like to see that happen in this 5-year period and prove everybody wrong that a high paid quarterback can take your team to the Super Bowl. So hopefully let's see it. Let's do it next year and just get that out of the way. And then that'll feel really good. And we can all say it was worth it. See, signs the contract and now we got a Super Bowl. I mean, that would be awesome. But one step at a time. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for calling, man. Hopefully I stay safe over in Mexico City. You're going to watch any NFL games that play out there?
Yeah, I actually have to buy the NFL League Pass because they only show Raiders, Patriots, and Green Bay here.
Right.
I don't know why.
Are you going to actually, I think there's going to be a game in Mexico City this year. I know they canceled last year's. It never happened. But if they have one this year, are you going to go?
Yeah, whatever team is playing, I'll definitely get tickets.
That'd be pretty cool. Not very often you get an opportunity like that. Like last year when I got to watch the Seahawks in Wembley, that's not exactly that doesn't happen it's something you see every day. So I was lucky I got to see the Raiders and Marshawn Lynch and those guys face it off in London. So hopefully it may not be the Seahawks, but you might get at least see some NFL in Mexico. See if they fix that damn turf they got over there. So
yeah, definitely. And but the tickets are really expensive just because of one game for the whole year. It's super expensive.
Wow.
Last year, I think that they sold out in the first 2 or 3 hours.
Jeez.
So you had to be right on it.
That means the people paying there in pesos, man, it must be really costing them a lot of money. I know that exchange rate isn't always favorable to the to the peso. So, man.
Yeah, it's $20. Oh no, sorry, $1 for 20 pesos. It's crazy.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, good luck to you, man. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
Yeah, have a wonderful night. Thanks.
All right, you too. Go Hawks. Okay, let's go to local number here. It's the 253. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Norb, what's up? Hey, Norb, what's up, buddy? How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Who's this?
This is Devin.
Devin, and you're calling from the south end somewhere?
Yeah, from Puyallup.
Puyallup, all right. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Not much, dude. How do you think we can win with how good St. Louis did and what they did last year? Do you think we can win the division?
I think we have a better chance this year than we did last year. It's going to be a tough road because I think LA is going to take a step back. Super Bowl hangover and the question about Todd Gurley and his knee issues. I think the Cardinals will probably take a step forward. The 49ers will undoubtedly take a step forward. So, I think it's going to get real bunched up in the middle there. I think the Rams stepping back and all of us taking a step forward is just going to get real clogged in that battle for the top spot. But I like to think our chances are pretty good, even though that schedule scares the crap out of me. It's a tough one, man. It's like there are no easy games. I mean, there really are usually never any easy games, but it really looks like there's no easy games on that schedule. Every team, every opponent looks pretty tough, with the exception of maybe one or two. But even those, there's just no cupcakes on there.
No.
Are you happy with the Russell Wilson signing?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's awesome. I mean, if we didn't get Russ a new contract, or if we didn't keep him here, that would have been 3 out of the two stupid things that we've done in our life. One, getting rid of Max for jamming, and two, throwing the ball on the 1 yard line. Those are the two stupid things that we've done. Those are the two stupid things in our lives that we've done.
I'd put the 1 yard. I'd put the that would have topped it all. But I'd put the 1 yard pass ahead of the Max Unger Jimmy Graham trade. I don't look at it as bad as other people do. Just because I think the problem was there was such high expectations of what people thought Jimmy Graham was going to do here, and while he certainly wasn't what he was in New Orleans, he wasn't a bad player either. He couldn't block worth a damn, but he could catch the ball in the red zone, and he was very productive. It just wasn't as productive as I think people wanted him to be. So, it's unfortunately it didn't work out as good as I think we all wanted it to. But he definitely was productive. But losing Max Unger though, I mean, that was a tough one just because he was such an anchor to that line. But I feel good about this line. I feel pretty good about where we're at with the line. I mean, we've got the same, same tackles, same center. What's his name? The right guard. Apati's coming in to take Sweezy's spot, but Fluker is back. So I mean, there's a lot of consistency there, and if they could all just stay, relatively healthy. I feel like the line will just continue to improve. So hopefully Iapati come in and still bring some of his A game. I know he's getting up there, a little older now, but hopefully that will be the case. And so we've improved a lot in a lot of places where I think our kicking situation looks awesome. With Mike Dixon and Jason Myers coming off a Pro Bowl year, and it's unfortunate we had him in our midst already, but we let him go and let him go to another team, have a great year, and now come back and be more expensive. But he may be the best kicker that we've had since Hauschka left. So I think I would like to think our kicking game should be better, which might win us a game or two here, and our running back situation is still good. And linebacker, I don't know. Michael Kendricks is still a kind of a mystery to me. I've been trying to look up exactly what's going on with this deal because he was supposed to get his sentencing. It got pushed back. And I thought in April they were going to determine his sentence, but I haven't heard anything. I'd like to know if anybody out there watching knows anything about the Michael Kendrick situation, because if you have Bobby, KJ, and Michael Kendricks, man, I mean, that is we're going to have an awesome linebacking crew. So I just don't know what Michael Kendrick's situation is. But anyway, I feel pretty good. Tight ends looks a good situation. I just think we need a little help at receiver, secondary, and pass rush. I mean, that's really what I see our weak spots. So
I mean, I think I'm all with you, man. I think as good as St. Louis is, I don't think.
Oh, you mean Los Angeles?
They'll be good, but they're gonna. Huh?
You mean Los Angeles? You said St. Louis, but I think you meant Los Angeles.
LA.
The Rams.
The Rams. If they're gonna be as good, they're gonna be like last year. We're gonna have a hell of a problem. But I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year.
Yeah, they were pretty awesome last year, but we'll see. Yeah. I think they were kind of exposed a little bit there at the end. Watching them in the Super Bowl, they just did not look good, and hopefully that carries over and hangs with them for a while. That would be that made me very happy. So we'll see. Yeah. It's going to be fun season though.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for the call, Devin. Appreciate it, man. All right, go Hawks. Take care. All right, let's go to another Washington number. Looks like the 360. You're on with NorbCam. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Who's this?
Okay, so my name is Preston. I'm coming from Oak Harbor. It's pretty close to Seattle, like a 2-hour drive.
It's on the other side of the water. I got a friend who lives out there in Oak Harbor. But, nice part of the state. What's on your mind, Preston?
I was just gonna ask if Seattle was going to let Wilson go, we would obviously want to trade him. And would we trade him to the Giants, or would we rather trade him to the Cardinals, take Kyler Murray, and see how we would go from there?
It's you're asking a hypothetical after Wilson obviously already signed his deal, so all that kind of goes away. But I guess to play with your idea there for a while, if I was the Seahawks, which would I have done, or which would have made the most sense, trading to the Giants or to the Cardinals, and assuming they would give up their first round pick to get Wilson? I don't see how the Giants would have worked anyway, because they still got Eli Manning over there. I don't even know if they could have afforded to have done that situation. I think the Cardinals won.
A bit old though.
Oh, I know. I mean, there's not a swap there, but if we're going for draft picks, I just don't know if the Giants would have had anything, would have been able to work out a trade that would have amounted to something that Seattle would have found, desirable. Obviously, the Cardinals with their number one draft pick situation would have been a potential option, with the fact that if Russell Wilson were to go to the Cardinals and then us getting that first round draft pick, we could find ourselves with a quarterback in place. I guess I couldn't see the Cardinals. I mean, unless the Cardinals really were in love with Russell Wilson, they, with sitting there at number one, I guess if I was the Cardinals, I think I'd go, what do I want? Russell Wilson and all this money, or take Kyler Murray at number one and take my chances with him, as a rookie, and, financially, which one would have made the most sense? That would have been a tough one. Obviously, we didn't have to see that one play out, but, I guess between the Giants and the Cardinals, I guess the Cardinals scenario probably was would have been a little more realistic scenario that I could see making sense for both teams. But I'm glad it didn't happen.
And that's the only reason why I thought Wilson wouldn't go to the Giants and fear to leave, because they're not going to let him go in the free agency. We would all obviously want something for him, because the amount of talent he's given to us in Seattle is absolutely incredible. He's given us the Super Bowl. He almost won two, but
should have won two.
About that
yes. Yeah, we don't want to rain on our parade here, but yes.
And then injuries just affected us later on, and if the Legion of Boom and all those other good guys that we had never got injured, I think we could have snuck in another championship or playoff run into the Super Bowl. But yeah, and what are we going to do with Bobby Wagner? Because we just paid Wilson a whole ton of money, and we still got to give Wagner some money.
Well, I think they have enough. I think they have enough to take care of Wagner, and in pecking order, it goes Wilson, Wagner, Frank Clark, and if maybe there's a guy who's going to be the casualty to all this, might be Frank Clark, because if you had to choose, Bobby Wagner is the captain of the defense in the same way that Russell Wilson is the captain quarterback of the offense, and I think those two are your franchise offense and defensive players there. So if you had to choose between Frank Clark and Bobby Wagner, you take Bobby Wagner hands down. And so I guess that really is the question: is can they get all three worked out, or is it just going to be the two? They can take care of those two. I'm not worried about that. It's really just with Wagner and this very inflated pass rush market right now, especially with what happened in Dallas with their pass rusher. That just sort of blew the market that much higher, and made Frank Clark in a position where he could want a deal like they did down there. So that's could be what might drive the point of no return if they can't get something worked out, because Frank Clark might feel he deserves more because that's what the market is bearing right now for pass rushers. But on the benefit, and I can see why, if they were willing to, let him go, this is a very pass rush heavy draft. And so, if there's a time that you were going to let go of one of your pass rushers, it might be this draft, because there's a lot of them coming up this way. So, one of the best in years. So if you had to let one of your best pass rushers go, this might be the time to do it. So that's the only reason why I could see why they might be more open to doing it. If it wasn't a very good pass rusher, rich draft, they might have to work harder at trying to get something done with Frank Clark. But we'll see. Draft is right around the corner, so we'll see what the Seahawks surprise us with this time. So,
and the thing is, I don't know if you've seen the video yet, but it's where Russell Wilson, I think he tweeted out that he, on a video like at 12 or something at night.
Yeah, in bed with Sierra.
With the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tyler Lockett and DJ
that.
Fluker, they kind of made their own video of it. It was pretty funny.
Oh, I saw that. I was dying. It was hilarious. Yeah, I wish I had it. I'd post it here for you guys to see. But a lot of you have probably already seen it. It's pretty hilarious, though. I don't want to spoil it. You got to just check it out. But look up Tyler Lockett and DJ Fluker. Their parody of Russell Wilson's contract announcement is pretty damn funny. So good humor over there for those guys. All right. Well, thanks for calling, man.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Well, it's good to hear from you, and call again sometime. All right. Go Hawks.
All right. Go Hawks.
All right. Let's keep this going for like a few more minutes. We got a few more calls here we can get to. Let's go to the 512. What's up? Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Norb, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Who's this?
All right. This is Nathan. I'm calling from Atlanta.
All right. And are you a Seahawks fan?
Yes. I was actually. I did call you once before. This was a while back. This was like after you did a live show after our playoff game where we lost to the Cowboys. I called in briefly. Just
okay.
Talk,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was a one question I wanted to ask, but the person right ahead of me kind of already asked it for me. I'm excited for this extension that Russell Wilson's got. My only concern is like, will they be able to bring Bobby Wagner back? Because he's my favorite player on the team right now, and I'll probably panic quite a bit if we let Bobby go. So
yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they have to. I mean, the guy is. You look at his stats. I mean, he's one of the best players. To linebackers for sure to ever play for the Seahawks, and he's got he's perennial Pro Bowler, and the guy's just awesome. I mean, when the Seahawks are a different team when he's not on the field, and so they have to sign him, and he's still in the prime of his career. I can't remember how old he is right now. He's maybe approaching 30. He's like. Or at 30?
I think it's like 28 right now.
Yeah, I think he's just behind Russell's in
29.
age. Yeah. So, he's still got good years ahead of him. And so this is kind of that time when he's getting his second contract, and this is, you're in that prime of your career, and you want to take care of him while you got him, because after this, that's maybe a different story 3-4 years from now. He might be on the downslide, but right now he's playing at a totally high level. Yeah. So, totally got to get him done for sure. Mm-hmm. No question.
Yeah, I see us being able to work with Bobby, because one thing I haven't really seen that many people talk about is that even when you take Russell Wilson's new contract into account, the Seahawks are still due to have a little over probably like $80 million in cap space in 2020, so they do have some cap space to work with. I think it's just a matter of how do they go about it with because I think the big question is that now we have to deal with contract years with Bobby Wagner, plus we have the Frank Clark situation, and then there's also our defensive tackle Jaron Reed, and we got to figure out like who are to keep all of those guys. So we got to figure out like who are we going to keep, and I think Bobby Wagner needs to be the top priority right now.
Yes,
so.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jaron Reed, he had a great year last year in interior pass, unexpectedly good interior pass rush, and just solid defender inside. So you want to take care of him too, but you get to that point where it's like, well, there's only so many guys you can keep taking care of, and and then at some point you just got to go, well, sorry, I can't do it, and we're gonna have to look elsewhere, draft somebody to replace them, and at some point that's going to have to happen. So, but yeah, Bobby Wagner is no question. You got to take care of those two guys. I mean, Wilson and Wagner.
Yeah, we've been bringing up the draft a bit because you've been bringing up the draft quite a bit. Do you know what kind of trade down scenarios like you could see the Seahawks going with? Because I think it's obvious that we're going to trade down. It's just what are we going to do like when it comes to trading down? Like,
I don't know. Unfortunately, I can't say I'm any expert on all the collegiate players coming up. I need to do some homework before next week so I feel like I at least know something about the guys who are out there. But it's like. You see these guys when they draft them, and half the time you're like, who's that? Okay, like they look them up and go, oh, okay, that looks pretty good. So they got so much research, all these guys scouting these things, and so I feel like, man, for me to even try to even guess at what makes sense is tricky. But I find that whole process fascinating, though. Just that whole way of you're trying to disguise, because you want teams to think you really don't want this person when you really do, because if they know you really want somebody, they can use that to their advantage. So you got to pretend like you're not interested, but make sure that you make them aware that you might want to work with them to help them in their situation. It's just the gamesmanship in the draft is fascinating, how there's so much like a negotiation, the posturing, and who's your trade partner going to be, and knowing what they want, because if they want that, you can leverage that into another pick for yourself if you just play with because they know they want to get that quarterback at this position. I just find the whole thing very fascinating. I was just like, obviously not knowing all the players that are out there, it's hard to know, but it wouldn't be fun to just be a fly on the wall in the Seahawks draft room, in the war room, leading up to the draft and actually in the draft. That would be just fun to see, what they're planning, who's on there. Got to have, if at 21, this guy, we're going to trade down, but if this one guy is available, we're taking him, I'm sure they've got some one or two guys who, if they magically stay on the board, that it's just like there's no way they can't take that person. It'd be fun to see if they have, some guys on their list like that, and they got to be there. There's got to be somebody who would tilt that, that decision to go, well, wait a second, let's maybe not trade down because we could really use this guy. So I'd love to be a fly on the wall and just watch that process. But it's. Do you see that movie Draft Day, Kevin Costner?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
and it was a little unrealistic. They in that show, Seattle was like Cleveland, and I think at the opening of the show there were people protesting the headquarters because the team was so bad. I mean, it was just like, what the heck is this? But
yeah, that's funny. We were the defending Super Bowl champions when that movie came out.
Yeah, I mean, it was like complete opposite of what's reality. So you kind of had to laugh from the get-go. But I thought it was kind of cool just how they kind of portrayed what might be happening inside the the Seahawks room as they're starting to talk to these other teams and work out their wheeling and dealing. So it's kind of corny movie, but it was still fun to watch. So I always love sports movies. But
yeah. Were you going to say something? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. So in Atlanta, we face Atlanta this year. I think we play in Atlanta, don't we? That's right.
Yes,
looking
we
at
do.
that schedule. So you gonna go to that game?
Yeah, I'm trying to look up, if I can get a pretty good deal. I mean, I already got plans to go to one game in the It's a college football game, but it's in the Atlanta Mercedes-Benz Superdome. So I'm hoping to go to this game too, or at least I might. And if I can't do that one, then I'll probably try to go to the one in Carolina, because that's
not too far.
Distance from here,
that's true.
So.
I enjoyed it. I went to one Carolina game. It was the game where we were down 31-0 at the half in the divisional round in 2015, and we almost came back. Almost would have been the greatest comeback of all time. We were just this short, and I thought I was going to get to witness it, but alas, didn't quite work out. Missed that onside kick. But real quick, I just wanted to say I flashed the schedule up when we were talking about that Atlanta game, and what do you see the Seahawks? Do you have an initial idea of how you think the record of the Seahawks are going to be this year?
I got to take a closer look at the schedule. I've seen who we played, and I already knew the opponents. I could probably see us. We could probably repeat potentially at maybe. And this is me just, looking at it without doing much of an analysis on it just yet. I could see us doing maybe 10-6 or maybe 11-5. I don't think I could definitely see us winning, double-digit games. And I predicted. I thought that we were going to go 10-6 or 11-5 last year, and look how that turned out. So
right. Yeah.
But,
well, we did.
Yep. Schedule. What are the teams that you're afraid of on the schedule? Because maybe you mentioned that earlier, and I may have just jumped in too late, but I've heard that you've said that you're kind of a little bit nervous about the schedule. What teams are scaring you the most?
Well, I pulled the schedule up right now. I'm just looking at it. We have a lot of 10 a.m. games, which I'm not real thrilled about. And Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Atlanta, Carolina. So right off the bat, we struggle on the road. So and add a 10 a.m. to that, and it just makes it really formidable. So I'm already looking at those, 4 games. We have not done well historically in Pittsburgh. We haven't done historically well in Atlanta, and Carolina. It's kind of mixed, but we did get a win there last year. So granted, kind of by the skin of our teeth, but it's always a tough game there. So all those road games are a little scary for me. Philadelphia. So Cleveland, even Cleveland this year. Cleveland looks scary. They could be a threat to that AFC North. Just the way they've loaded their roster, and that quarterback's pretty damn good. So, so I guess those jump out, and then of course LA. You just don't know what LA Rams team you're going to see this year, and so. So there's half the schedule I'm already scared of. New Orleans, there's another one that scares me. I get scared easy though, because I'm always worried. So, but
I'm not too scared of Pittsburgh though, because Pittsburgh is kind of in disarray because they got so much drama going on in their locker room, and Bell and Brown are both gone. So I'm not too scared about Pittsburgh.
I don't know. It's in Pittsburgh though, and that. I guess I have so very few memories of winning in Pittsburgh. We beat Pittsburgh the last time we played them, and it was here in dramatic fashion in a very high-scoring game, if I recall. I think Doug Baldwin had the game-winning touchdown that gave us an exciting, very exciting play. There, he took it around the right sideline for a touchdown. But I think of Pittsburgh, and I don't recall a lot of wins there. So that, it's just your mind sometimes just remembers the location and remembers what happened there the last time. And you go, when's the last time we actually won game there? And it makes it tough. So, I don't know. I'm optimistic too that we should get double-digit wins. We'll need to get double-digit wins if we want to get to the playoffs again. So, I think we've got to find a way to keep our losses to 6 or less. So that's a good way to look at it, is mark the teams you think you're going to lose to and then see what's left, and then hopefully that's the record. But, so we'll see what happens. But good luck being down there in Atlanta, and, hopefully we get a win down there.
I got people down here telling me not to go to that game because we're going to get blown out. But I'm like, nah, if my team's coming down here to Atlanta, I got to come see them. So
exactly. Well, we got beat pretty bad last time, and that I think the playoff game was the last time we met.
Yeah,
I think that was the last time. the
The one where
divisional.
the Falcons eventually went to the Super Bowl and then blew that big lead.
Right. Yeah. So, who knows? Might. So every year is a different year, but we'll see. It's going to be a tough one. Yeah. All right. Well, it's good talking to you, man. Thanks for the call. Go Hawks.
Yeah, likewise. Go Hawks.
All right. Man, you guys are hanging on strong. 10-17, and we still got people on the line. Let's see. Let's go to who's been hanging on a long time here. Let's go to the 509. What's up? You're on with NorbCam. Who's this?
Hi, this is Noah.
Noah, from where? You're over in the eastern part of the state.
I am. I'm from Clarkson, Washington.
Clarkson. All right. And what's on your mind, man?
Hey, I wanted to talk about Doug Baldwin. I don't know if you have talked about that at all, but
I have not talked about. I have not talked about Doug Baldwin, and I think we should because when I saw the announcement that he's going to be facing some more surgeries, and then potentially there's talk about him considering retirement after those surgeries came up, a little scary because Doug Baldwin was an essential part of this equation. I have not heard anything new since I saw that bit of news out there. And again, I don't know how much that's legit or how much is just, again, media speculation. But what's your thoughts on the potential of Baldwin this year being on the field or maybe not? What do you think?
Well, here's my thoughts. We've developed Jermaine Kearse and guys like David Moore and all these other guys like Doug Baldwin, right? He went undrafted, so Jermaine Kearse. And they've played big for us throughout the years. And I just want to know, like, in your mind, if he is, like, an expendable part of the Seahawks, even though he's made so many big plays for the Seahawks. I just want to know, like, if you think that we can maybe pick up somebody, if we can maybe develop somebody through, not only the depth, but through maybe the draft. You just your thoughts on that, because he was undrafted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I guess... if you're saying, are we talking about letting him go, or are you just thinking the situation in case he decides that he's done playing?
Well, he's played since 2011, and all these injuries have kind of racked up against him. So it's hard to say, if I think that he's going to play for another team or if he's going to come back and play big for the Seahawks. Obviously he's going under surgery this year through the summer and stuff. So I just don't know if he'll be able to be ready for the regular season or not.
Yeah. Well, I think he's still valuable, and really the question would be, can he get up to a form where he's close to 100%? I think last year he wasn't even 100% the whole year. He was dealing with injuries the entire year, and he talked about that in numerous interviews that he struggled last year trying to get back to full health, and I don't think he ever really was. So, and yet he was still really effective. So I think he's still good. I don't think he could still be at that point, assuming he can get past the injuries, which are so debilitating that he can't function at a high level. Obviously, if he can't, well, then that's a whole different story. Because obviously, if you can't run a player out there who's not, he's not able to perform, and then you got to, make a decision at that point. But I hope he can get back to it, and I'm guessing that if there's talk of potential retirement, then it's one of those situations where he's probably either he's either going to play because he knows he can still get out on the field, or if he can't, he's not going to go out there knowing he can't play well, and wouldn't try to force himself on the field if he can't be the player that he is or has been. So, I think, I think he'll be back. He might be late coming back in, but season's still early. He might just be one of those things where he probably doesn't get going to training camp and maybe has to rest up most of the the off season and come in when the regular season starts. I think, wasn't it the same case last year that he kind of started that way? He had to kind of wasn't he off the first
week one,
couple of
week
weeks
one against
of the
the
season?
Broncos,
he was out.
He didn't really do anything, but he developed through the season and stuff. So,
yeah, and he still had some spectacular catches, and so it was really the Tyler Lockett year last year. But Baldwin's still a great receiver, and if he can just, he's a great slot possession receiver, and so I hope he can come back, But obviously he's got to be right for himself. So I'm sure he'll make that decision, and the team will make that decision once he does. So, but yeah, I love Doug Baldwin, and he's half Filipino, so I love that too. So,
absolutely.
I hope he's one of those guys that doesn't play for another team. I hope he if he does retire, he'll retire a Seahawk and not play for another team. I don't see why he would.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next. You've obviously heard about Earl Thomas wanting to retire as a Seahawk. So
I read that story.
How do you think that's going to happen?
You know what? I think he will. It's kind of like Lynch. I think a lot of these guys, sometimes they don't end on the best of situations, but once things cool down, you get some distance from it, people will forget about the finger. I mean, it was like, are you really going to let one finger ruin, the past, what was it, 8 years? When did we draft him? 2010.
Oh yeah, he's made
8 seasons
plays for us.
While I didn't like seeing that, it just because I knew that would kind of just hang around as the last memory. It didn't undo 8 seasons of awesomeness watching Earl Thomas back there. So he, I think he may have a good second career with the Ravens, but it'll never duplicate what he did in his first 8 seasons with us. And so I think when all is said and done and he hangs it up and he goes to Canton in the Hall of Fame, yeah, I think he would go as a Seahawk. And I think the Seahawks would hang his jersey, and eventually that it would get to that point. It's just right now it's fresh, and he hasn't even started his time with the Ravens. But I think when time comes, I think it'll come back. I was actually happy to see that, because I wasn't one of those guys who was mad at him. It was unfortunate how the situation played out, because he broke his leg a second time, and he had been holding out. So it was just the worst case scenario for both sides happened when that injury took place. But so that's why I understand why he would be so upset. But unfortunately, it was just kind of like Sherman, a bad injury happening at the worst possible time, and so you get nothing out of them. They got no value. 2 of your best players on the defense leaving, with an injury, and basically forcing him to just let him walk. And unfortunately, that was the lasting image. But I think it was all said and done. They'll make up for it, and make up, and all be good. And however number of years, 5-6 years from now, whenever he retires. But I was actually happy to read that, because I think he's an emotional, impulsive guy. Broke his leg the first time. He's talking about retiring, and that didn't happen. So I look at the finger the same way. So anyway,
for sure, I agree.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the call, man. I'm going to try to get a few more here. It's getting late. I'm going to try to wrap this up soon, but I want to get a few more calls in. But I do appreciate your thoughts.
Absolutely. Go Hawks.
All right. Go Hawks. All right. Let's take a few more here. I'm going to try to speed up the pace. Let's go to the 907. What's up? Who's this, and where are you calling from?
John, Juneau, Alaska.
Oh, John from Alaska. All right. What's happening, man? What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm pretty much an optimist, and I hear some of the negativity. Like last year, I was one of the few that said we're going to be 10-6, and I got laughed at. But my argument last year was that we haven't had LOB for like 2 years. They're all hurt.
Yep.
So all the replacements had all kinds of minutes.
Yeah.
And so my thinking was, no, we're still pretty good. We lost a lot. Yes, we did. But, we still have a lot of young kids that came up to the plate and played pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And as a former coach and former player, I've always said players don't develop from the bench.
Yeah, that's right.
They got to go out and make mistakes. And
then that's right. Yeah.
Also, these kids were 22, 23. Now they're almost grown men now. So, You know, like Thompson, he's 23, 24 now, 6'3". You know, you go down the list, and these kids are not only growing mentally, but they're growing physically. So
in other words, your bold prediction is
12-4.
Wow, 12-4. Okay.
Yeah.
And have you looked at this? Have you looked at the schedule? Have you actually analyzed it and thought how you got there? So look, I'm going to pull the schedule up right here. So what are our 4 losses then?
I would say the powerhouses, so to speak, the Rams, the really strong ones. I don't think Pittsburgh is strong.
Mm-hmm.
They lost too much. You know, I think the key to being 12-4 is Penny. You know, I think we might have the first 1,000 yards, Carson and Penny,
Mm-hmm.
What makes him so unique is Carson's a hammer, and Penny's a home run hitter.
Right.
You know, and it took him 8 games to learn the offense, and once he started learning the offense, then he became effective.
Well, like you said,
like I said,
maybe I'm cutting you off and putting words in your mouth, but like you said about players, they need to be out there and getting their touches and getting experience. And with Mike Davis gone now, Mike Penny is going to get his touches, and it's going to be a nice 1-2 combination to watch, Carson and Penny back there.
Yeah, and what makes them, they're different running backs. You know, Carson's a hammer, and Penny's like a jackrabbit, and he has the speed to hit a home run,
Right.
And they got to stop those two, and that's going to be very hard. And our plan B is Russell.
That's right.
They stopped the running. Then, I think last year, when starting the fourth quarter, we should have let them loose. They proven to stop Carson.
Yeah.
And then go to Russell, and then I think it would have been a different situation.
Yep. Yeah, they should have gone to the pass earlier, because once they did, every time Russell took the ball, he was knocking just downfield, just tearing it up, and you're just going, where was this earlier? So I'm sure that hopefully they've learned from that. But I'm excited just with that running back tandem, the offensive line being relatively, I think shored up and consistent from last year for most of it, and then our tight ends, getting Will Dissly back, who's going to be a great blocking tight end. I'm really excited. I feel like we never saw the full potential last year because we had so many injuries out of the gate, and even Russell, I think, clearly he wasn't running early on because he couldn't. I think he was dealing with a hamstring issue or whatever it turned out to be, and he wasn't at full percent. But so, Dissly was out, Russell Wilson was hurt, Baldwin was hurt all year. I mean, we had our own share of injuries, and despite that, we still went 10-6 and should have went deeper in the playoffs. But I think this year will be even better than that. So, yeah, and KJ Wright was injured. Yeah, we had just a lot of things holding. So
you go from the fourth youngest team last year, and they're all grown men now. So and Mike Utiati really solidifies that running game. They all said that his strength is the running block, and oh my, they could run right or left,
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this offense could do, and I love the way they were running the ball last year. They just did a little bit too much in Dallas, but it's their chemistry. I think the people who and Kathleen, I am going to pick up your call here, so make sure you let me know what your area code is. What makes me laugh is people who say, "Oh, why are we spending so much money on our quarterback when we're a running team and we run the ball 60-70% of the time?" I argue that makes Russell Wilson's job that much more important, that he's dead on accurate when he does throw, because when you have less opportunities, that means you got to be really good in the few opportunities that you have. If you're a team that throws the ball 50 times, you could be a trash quarterback, but eventually you're going to get your yards if you throw the ball that many times. You're also going to probably have a lot of interceptions and incompletions, but you're going to get yards because you're just doing so many attempts. Wilson does the same, high efficiency with less opportunities, with less attempts, and that's what makes him special, and that's what makes him, I think, more valuable than a guy who gets paid a lot and throws the ball 50, 60 times a game. You know what I mean? So he has to be that much more accurate. So that's why I think
he only
it's
comes
so
in a
special.
once. He only comes in a once generation. That kind of quarterback. They think he grows on trees, but example is the Pittsburgh. They haven't really, from Bradshaw to Big Ben, that's almost 20 years.
Yep.
And you look at the Bills, they're still looking for that quarterback.
Right.
I don't understand trade Russell. I never understood that. He's a once in a lifetime quarterback.
I think the people who want to trade Russell are the people who never believed him in from the first place. They were the people who said the only reason we won the Super Bowl is because we had Marshawn Lynch and the LOB and a great defense. Russell Wilson was just a guy, and I think that is just not true. And other times people have just found reasons to give someone else credit for the win and not give Russell Wilson credit where it's deserved. And I think those people just never accepted it. And I'm just not one of those people, So I'm glad.
He's always going to have haters,
Yeah, exactly.
But he's my man.
Yeah. I mean, and while everybody else changes, he's worked with what he's had to work with. LOB or no LOB, he's still managed to get the team to the playoffs. And again, we should have been in the playoff every year had we had a decent kicker. So, that one wasn't his fault. But, yeah. Well, hey, it was good talking to you, John. I appreciate the call, and call again.
Appreciate the time.
Yeah, appreciate your insight. Go Hawks. All right, just a few more here. Got to wrap this up. Let me go to the 267. Where is the 267? I'm about to find out. You're on with NorbCam. Who's this and where are you calling from?
My name's Steven. I'm calling from Philadelphia.
Steven from Philly. It's late over there. 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. Are you an Eagles fan or are you a Seahawks fan?
I'm a Seahawks fan.
Seahawks fan. Awesome. All right. What's on your mind, Steve?
I'm just, kind of confused on, this whole Frank Clark thing, because I don't know if we're trading him, signing him, or what's happening with him.
Right now, nothing's happening. I think it's yet to be determined. My understanding, I remember I thought they franchise tagged him.
Yeah, I did
early
too.
on.
I've seen that.
But that doesn't mean they couldn't trade him. It just means that, if they do decide mutually that they want to move him, then they're guaranteed a certain number of draft picks in exchange to whatever trading partner they work it out with. So franchise tag, just basically guarantees how much he's going to make, and it guarantees a certain situation if we move him. So it's still very up in the air, and they could still do a long-term deal. I mean, there's every option is still available. But right now, to a certain degree, Seattle controls his destiny from that standpoint. But will they do a long-term deal? Because theoretically, I should say, take it back. They only control his destiny if he signs the franchise tag. He doesn't technically have to do it. He could do like what Le'Veon Bell did, where the Steelers franchise tagged him, but he chose not to play. He sat out the entire year and decided not to take the money for that year and rather just hold out and barter for another year, and then he went and got signed with the Jets. So he saved a year of mileage off of him and believed that he wanted a better deal. So Frank Clark could potentially do that. I don't think he will, but the question was, will the Seahawks work it out to where they keep him long term? That is the big question that we won't know. We won't know until after the draft is over. So it's a fascinating situation. I'd love to see them get all three of those guys, but I just don't know how it's going to happen. So we'll see. But the draft will tell a lot based on what guys they pick up.
There's a lot of young, good players that are coming in.
Yeah, a lot of pass rushers.
That we could definitely use.
Yep, a lot of pass rushers this draft. So, again, it makes it that much more intriguing that they could be tempted to try to work out a deal and get some young guys in instead of spending on Frank Clark. But that's the trade. It's like, do you go for the established veteran who's older and expensive, or the new guy who's unproven but has a lot of upside and is cheap. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll have to see how that all works out. But and you happy with the Russell Wilson deal?
Kinda not. I kind of wanted to see, because I didn't think they were going to sign him another deal. I thought they were going to trade him to some other team, get a quarterback in the draft if they moved up or not, and go on from there. To be honest, if we did end up trading him and somehow getting Kyler Murray, I would have loved to see that, but keeping him would be way better.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's Kyler Murray's a special talent. Number one, he's going to be somebody's quarterback, and will he be a Patrick Mahomes? I mean, there's no guarantee. I know he's Heisman and all that stuff, but it's never a guarantee. So I mean, that's the risk that they don't always translate. So we'll see. I think Arizona takes them, and that's going to make Arizona that much more dangerous this season. So it's going to be scary, tough this year. I'm telling you. You're going to go to that. Seattle's going to be in Philly this year. You're going to go to that game since you're out there?
Yeah, I was just talking about it. I went to the one they played in New York 2 seasons ago, I think it was, and they won. It was pretty nice going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on going to the Eagles one.
Just bring, wear some Kevlar under your shirt, and just don't, just don't talk to anybody. Don't get any, John with anybody. You'll be all right.
Yeah, New York, Seahawks fans took over that stadium.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah, I love that stadium. I got to watch Super Bowl 48 over there, and that was one of the best stadiums I've ever been to. Always will be a happy place in my memory book. But yeah, that was a fun experience. I actually enjoyed most of the away games I've gone to. Even Carolina, the fans over there are pretty cool. But nothing beats that MetLife Super Bowl experience. Although Arizona, if we had won that Super Bowl, that would have topped it. Just with everything that happened that season, because Arizona Super Bowl experience leading up to that day was great, and had we won it, that would have been over the top. But we won't talk about that. So anyway,
I got another question for you.
All right. What's up?
I've recently just seen that we signed DJ Moore to a 1-year contract. And they're also talking about signing Jermaine Kearse back, because I'm pretty sure he's still a free agent.
Yeah, I believe that's true. Are you talking about? We're talking about David Moore?
Yeah, David Moore. My fault.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I wonder about that. And I don't know. Maybe with the Baldwin situation being kind of up in the air, maybe that changes the equation with Kearse. I'm just not sure where Kearse fits into that role. If Baldwin's there, you got Lockett, Baldwin, Moore. Who am I missing? I can think. What's our other receiving guy in there?
Yeah, what happened with Doug Baldwin? I know he had a couple surgeries and everything.
Well, it's he was battling injuries all last year, as I spoke of earlier, and he got some other things that flared up, and part of it could be age. You get older, you're just more susceptible to these things. They take longer to heal, but hard to know how serious this is, and then the talk of retirement. I don't know. These days, it seems like there's a lot of stories that don't prove to be, accurate, and so you got a lot of speculation and a lot of things you have to kind of take at face value and kind of go, well, all right, So you say, but I'm not going to buy into that because unless you hear it straight from the horse's mouth, and even then, you might hear from something from a player, and they still may not be telling you the entire truth. So I don't know. I hope he's in there because Baldwin is still a special player, and he's that important slot guy that he's just such a great route runner. Guy's got such good footwork and gets good separation. Even though he's not a big guy, he's not the fastest guy. He's just quick. Got quick feet, and finds a way to get open. So I hope he can be part of the equation this year. It'd suck if he's out for an extended period of time. But now we'll see, man. But hey, I'm gonna move on to other calls, and but I appreciate you calling, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
All right, a couple more here before I gotta wrap this up. So I'm gonna go to RO in 49er land. RO, who missed my show last time. What's up, man? Or didn't call in last time, anyway. You said you had a good excuse. You said you had a good excuse for why you didn't call in last time.
Yeah. While you had your calling show last time, I was out of town on spring break. So, yeah, while you was having your calling, I was out touring the city of Rome.
Oh, nice.
Paying no attention to football news.
Ah, okay, all right.
Looking at the phone to see how the Warriors and Nuggets were doing because they were like 1 and 2. Oh, they were like they were like battling each other for 1 and 2 in the West.
Okay, gotcha. Well, what's on your mind tonight, man?
Yeah.
What do you think of the schedule? How's
schedule or
I don't know. I guess from a 49er standpoint, you feel optimistic about this season?
Let's see. Let's put it this way. In the first 10 games, we need to win at least 6 or 7. Because our depth threat comes up starting from like week 11 on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. We play you guys twice in that span.
Mm-hmm.
We play the Rams once. We play the Ravens once, which is no fun times heading up to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Memories of Terrell Suggs jumping all over our quarterback.
That was a different time. Well, I guess it's a different time than it will be this time. So, yeah. What do you think? Do you think the Rams will come back to take their division, to win the division crown again, or do you think it's going to be somebody else?
I feel kind of pressured into saying that they won't, mainly because I'm on the Seahawks fan show. But yeah, I think so. But yeah, I still think they'll win the division. But
you still think they're the best team in the West, huh?
Yeah, too much talent.
Yeah, I don't know. I see them in that Super Bowl. Was not that encouraging. The Todd Gurley piece is a big part of that. He just doesn't look right. Something's not right there.
Yeah.
What was your reaction as a 49er fan to the Russell Wilson signing? Were you happy that he got re-signed, or were you hoping he was going to leave Seattle?
I knew you were going to ask this. Let's see. I was okay with it. I figured that he was going to get a contract sooner or later, so I guess I was kind of happy that he did because that puts an end to all the fake news going around that he wants to go to New York and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I guess what I mean personally, you as a rival fan and of a team that Russell has had his way with for a number of seasons now, was your initial reaction, yay, the Seattle's paying him all this money, or dang, I was hoping he'd leave so we wouldn't have to deal with him anymore?
Honestly, it was the first one. I'm just hoping that now Russell Wilson will fall into the trap of really high-paid quarterbacks that don't make the playoffs. But anyway, so let's see. That leaves Seattle's cap space at what now? How much cap did you guys lose from that?
Oh, I don't remember exactly. It's like, well, it's this year's because he's still got his old part of his old contract going into. I mean, he's like 13% of the cap. It'll probably be closer to 17 or 18, I think, in the subsequent years. But that all depends on how much the cap goes up by. So, I don't know the exact amount. I can't tell you. I haven't done the math.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest news from you guys this offseason outside of the Frank Clark drama.
Right.
And speaking of Frank Clark, given what DeMarcus Lawrence got, do you think that's going to affect what Frank Clark's going to ask Seattle for?
Oh, for sure. I think for sure. I mean, I think every deal is like a precedent to the next person's deal. Just like Russell Wilson's deal makes upcoming quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and those guys are all chomping at the bit, drooling, foaming at the mouth, knowing that, hey, I'm going to get mine. It's just a matter of time. So, yeah, it's going to definitely affect what he thinks his value should be, because he's probably looking at him going, well, I'm about as good as that guy. I should be getting $20 million or whatever he got. So maybe it even raised his expectations higher than what he thought he was deserving of until he saw that. And it was like, oh, wait a second. Okay, all right, well, then stock's up. Should cash in. So that's really, I think, the big question is, what's he willing to settle for? And it has his bar been raised because of the current deals being done like that. So it's all kind of a matter of how much does he just want to get paid the most, or how much does he want to stay on this team? That's always kind of the big question, I guess, at this point with the NFL. It's always stay or go to the highest bidder. And I think ultimately with Russell, if he really wanted to leave, he could have just left. I don't think he didn't have to take that deal, and he could have still made that kind of money elsewhere. But I think inside he did want to stay in Seattle, that he really wanted the best possible deal that kept him here. And I think that's what he got. So, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's hard to tell on that Frank Clark deal. It's going to be down to the wire, I think. We won't probably know for sure what's going to happen, but the draft will tell a lot, and what players they make there. So, all right, man. You got anything left? Because I've got to wrap this up.
Sure. I also got to go with a quick question before you go.
Yeah.
So, do you for off-season moves, would you prefer Seattle to stay put and not do anything while all the other teams, such as splurge on big name players, or would you also prefer to be part of that mix where you're just throwing around money at high-end talent?
Well, I don't know if it's really an opinion as to whether you like to do it or not to do it. I think it's really what you're able to. I mean, the reality is, because the Rams have the quarterback discount deal going on, rookie contract deal, they can go shop at the high-end shops, while Seattle is forced to shop at Walmart. When it comes to free agents, they just can't pay like that, and so you're kind of restricted by what your cap allows you to do. And and so to a certain degree, Russell's contract's it forces them to have to know that they can't go out and just sign hey, we need a pass rusher, let's just go get that guy who costs $15-20 million. And while we're at it, let's go get this this safety in this corner, because we just don't have the money for it. You'd love to have both ways, but it's just not the way the system works. So Seattle kind of did that when the script was flipped and Russell was only getting paid a measly amount of money. We were signing all kinds of free agents, and that's why we got to beef up that defense a lot. And I got Percy Harvin and all that. Those are all very expensive contracts, which they would be able to do now. So we played that game. I mean, LA kind of reminds me a little bit of what we were kind of, maybe not quite to that high-profile degree, but
what we did this offseason is like exactly what LA did last offseason.
Yeah, we made room, knowing that Russell's contract was coming, because they knew they had to jettison a lot of those expensive guys.
Yeah,
they did.
In a very similar position now.
Yeah, exactly.
They've paid off all their players. Now the best player is going to be due for a contract in a little bit.
Well, and you guys did drop a lot of money on Garoppolo. I mean, he's at the time he got signed, he was the most expensive player, I think, for about a minute. And then I think Kirk Cousins topped that right shortly after. So,
And we also happened to make a linebacker from Tampa Bay the highest paid middle linebacker in the league this offseason.
Yeah, that too.
So the words thing.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the way of the business. Makes it interesting. You got to get a little luck involved in getting, drafting a guy and having it actually work out. Because a lot of times you draft these guys and they don't. I think we've had more misses than hits lately. So, all right, man, I've got to wrap this up. I've got to go. But thanks, man. It's good to hear from you. And good luck, sort of, this coming year. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you again soon. All right, later.
Good luck not with the Hawks. Okay.
All right. Later, man. All right. This is going to be my last call right here from the 204. What's up? Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Norb. This is Keith. I'm calling from Canada.
Keith from Canada. What part of Canada?
I'm calling from Winnipeg, Manitoba.
All right.
Born and raised in Kelowna, British Columbia.
All right. And
season ticket.
Okay, very cool. So
what season ticket holder for the Seahawks from 2002 to 2012, and then also the BC Lions football team and the CFL, Vancouver Canucks hockey team, and then unfortunately I had to move back with the family to Winnipeg, but still a Seahawks fan, that's for sure.
All right, and so what? So you're a season ticket holder up to the time when Wilson finally came in and they started getting good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unfortunate timing there. Well, what's on your mind? What you got?
Yeah, no, I'll just make this quick. I'm looking at first off, I was talking about Russell Wilson. I don't like the sign. I like the signing. I mean, I like him being our quarterback, but I don't like the contract. I think it's a terrible deal. I don't think no football player should be making $35 million a year unless his name is Tom Brady. And if Tom Brady's not making $35 million, and we all know the reason why he's doing it, so then that money can be spread around properly.
Yeah.
I think it has huge consequences for the Seahawks. And I don't understand why Russell Wilson would even want to have a contract like that. I mean, does he not want to win? I mean, he's 30 years old. He could definitely play for another 10 years, and I don't see how it benefits him football-wise rather than, he's got more money in the bank account. We saw what happened this offseason with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, being here in Winnipeg, we got the Blue Bombers, we have the Jets, and we have the Viking fans, and we have Vikings Minneapolis TV. And all we hear about for the last 2 months is that the Vikings couldn't help improve their offensive line because they had no money because they gave $30 million a year to Kirk Cousins, their quarterback. And I think that's what's going to happen with the Seahawks, whether it's this offseason or the next offseason. And so, I mean, yeah, we have our quarterback, but there's consequences. So what are your thoughts on the consequences?
Well, my thoughts on the consequences is I'm still happy about the deal. I thought he got the deal that he deserved to get to keep him here. And so I don't regret the situation. I'm very happy with it. I saw this as being the end to that, the end that this needed to reach. The question is, can it prove your theory wrong that when one player is taking that much of the salary cap, can they still succeed as a team and win? Well, I guess that's to be determined because 5 years, he's going to be with us. And at the end of the 5, we'll only know when we look back and say, well, that was worth it or it wasn't. And I'd like to hope that it's going to be worth it, but it's going to require, for that to work, they're going to have to get very, very, very smart with the draft, because if they get a lot of misses in the draft, I think they're going to be in trouble. So they have to draft well. Yeah. Obviously, they got to develop the players they have well, and when they make free agency moves, they've got to be pretty smart about it. I think they can still do it, because, there are plenty of other teams who don't have an expensive quarterback. I mean, it's easy to say, here are the teams who have expensive quarterbacks who haven't made the Super Bowl. Well, there's plenty of teams who don't have a franchise quarterback, and they're not making the Super Bowl either. So it doesn't necessarily guarantee one versus the other. It's the whole package. But Russell Wilson, to me, is a talent that is very once in a generation. And I just feel like, we wouldn't have accomplished half of what we've done this up to this point if we didn't have him. And he wasn't just a guy who happened to be along for the ride. I think the numbers and his record has proven that. So, it's we'll see. We'll see in 5 years.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly. It's a we'll see type of thing. But I just would like him to sign a little bit less so that money can be spread around a little bit more.
I agree. I agree.
So I just want to talk about the draft real quick.
Yeah.
I think if T.J. Hawkinson is there, we draft him. There's these late rumors come around. I'm NFL Network. Christian Wilkins is dropping. I mean, if that's true or not. If he's there, I think we go for Christian Wilkins. But if those two are gone, I personally believe the Seahawks are going to trade out of their spot, acquire some more picks. But if there's one player that I think they should look at, is Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle. I'm a big Dexter Lawrence guy. I'm a big Clemson. I think they're Christian Wilkins and Dexter Lawrence are two. Those two players, I don't know how the heck they're not being talked about in the top 5. I think that they're going to be incredible defensive tackles in the National Football League. They'll have long careers. So I do think if those Hawkinson, Wilkins, I think they're gone to Seattle if they're there. If not, I think the Seahawks are either going to trade down or acquire Dexter Lawrence. What are your thoughts on those three?
Well, I thank you for the insight. I'm going to actually make a note of that and look them up. I don't have the college familiarity with the players coming up like you do, so I don't really have a good sense as to who they would put on their must-have at 21, player list that they wouldn't trade down. I just think they're going to trade down. 99% sure that they will, unless there is that one or two guys that, as you mentioned, maybe they have. Is that if he's there, we got to go get him. I wish I knew, but I don't know who that would be.
Okay.
I still think they'll trade down.
You
But
have to
I
look
definitely.
up T.J. Hawkinson.
All right.
Because if this guy's a Seahawk, I think honestly we would have to trade up to get him, which I don't think we'd be able to. But if T.J. Hawkinson is a Seahawk, he's basically Russell Wilson's dream tight end. I think this guy is going to be. You can't tell rookies, but this guy is. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be the number 1 tight end in the National Football League within three years.
Wow. And the tough part there, though, is that I feel like that's one of the places we don't have a high need for as a tight end. I feel like we got a pretty solid. We've got other needs that are much more glaring. More on the defensive side, really, than on the offense. But
I agree. Okay, but before I go, are you going to be as big of a Seattle NHL fan as you are a Seahawk?
I can't say that I will be because I'm not an NHL fan right now. I just have never really caught on to the sport, and so it's not a natural sport for me to just suddenly get into. I will certainly try to pay closer attention to it and try to understand and appreciate the game a little bit more because I'm kind of like soccer.
Yeah, you were just in Vegas. Yeah. I think 5 years ago, nobody in Vegas would have thought that hockey would be the number 1 sport. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true, and it could blow up here. I know people are starving to have another professional sports team in here, and that could be the one that gets people really jacked up. And I know that what was the expansion team that in their first year they came out and won the Stanley Cup, right? Isn't that what just happened?
Vegas made it all the way to the Stanley Cup finals last year.
To the finals, they didn't win it. They just made it to the finals?
No, they didn't win it. They lost to Washington.
So, that's a pretty awesome thing to be able to do.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I'm not an NHL fan,
by
default.
I love football, but hockey, there's nothing like it.
You're from Canada, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But hockey. Like Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley even himself said NBA playoffs are unwatchable. I'm a diehard Canucks guy and a Winnipeg Jets fan. You turn on NBC, you watch Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues game last night. That was one of the greatest sporting playoff games I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying I'm a Jets fan, but tomorrow, you just turn on NBC tomorrow, and you tell me that you're not going to get into watching I mean, the incredible whiteout that the Winnipeg sports fans come up with, where it's game number 5. I mean, the atmosphere in the building, the quality of play is just, I mean, you don't even have to be a hockey fan. I don't understand how nobody gets hooked on it, man. It's just watch 15 minutes tomorrow, NBC,
Right.
and you
All
tell
right.
me that you're not going to be hooked and excited for an NHL team coming to Seattle. To me, it's just like how you're passionate for, like you and I are both passionate Seahawks fans, and I've been to many Seahawks games, and I love it. I mean, it's an experience like no other, but NHL playoffs is out of this world.
Well, I've been told that by other NHL fans, and I guess I'll just have to. It has to naturally happen for me, and maybe I'll have a chance to go, and maybe I'll get bit by the bug. But I'm not saying I wouldn't give it a shot, but it'll have to take some work on my end. But hey, man, it was good talking to you. I appreciate it.
For Seattle.
Yeah, for sure. There's the possibilities are
thanks,
great.
Norb.
So.
I'll let you go. I know you
bet.
want to get going. So thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for what you do. It's enjoyable. It's my first time calling you, and you do a great job bringing the Seahawks fans together. So I appreciate your work.
I appreciate it. Well, I hope to hear from you soon. You got a lot of great insight. So have a good one,
All
man.
right.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
All right. Okay, guys, that is it. I'm sorry. I know there was a few people left, but I'm already my chariot has already turned into a pumpkin. I got to get to my family and wrap some other stuff up. So thanks you guys for your patience and with all my bugs earlier tonight getting things going. But that was great. A lot of good stuff. So hope you subscribe, hit that notification button. And again, my name is Norb. This is NorbCam, Seahawks fans. See you guys soon. Talking draft coming up next week. All right. Appreciate it, you guys. Take care and go Hawks.